What's going on? What's going on? Eagles week. We here to talk about the Eagles today. Normally I'll break it up in 2 days, but I'm like, we're gonna talk about it all. I watched 2 games. I'm still finishing up the all 22 for one of them, but I'm like, I got enough to go ahead and present my information to y'all because pretty much what I'm gonna see going back on the all 22 is just gonna be kind of like doing it more specifically, but getting what we need to know and what to expect. We got it. We got that right now. So it's game time. Eagles, man, y'all know what time it is. Dak on y'all. So let's get straight to the equation. Dak on y'all. Dak will forever own y'all. Y'all say what y'all want about Foe, but for a team to criticize Foe the way that y'all do, y'all sure do be taking a lot of L's to Foe. So we're gonna have to keep it real when it comes down to that. Y'all take a whole bunch of L's to Foe. Y'all keep getting, even last year when you was talking about Foe, when Foe came back, what did he do? Put 40 on you. It's just sometimes you know how, they said Father Abraham had many sons. Well, Foe's sons is everybody in the division because he just keep dogging y'all. Straight up. Y'all don't stand. In all reality, they talk about it's a rivalry, but it's like, when y'all gonna go ahead and hold y'all in? We can't be living in yesterday. We need to be living in the present and hope for the future. And no matter what y'all have done, y'all still be losing the Foe, right? So no matter what you have done lately, you're still the inferior franchise, right? Whether you want to talk past or you can go talk future, you're still the inferior franchise. Whether it be marketability, head to head, you name it, you're the inferior franchise. Just is what it is. Y'all gonna say, oh, we went to the Super Bowl twice in the last year. Okay, cool. Every dog has his day. Every dog has his day. But when you go against Foe, it just doesn't be all day. But anywho, we're going to talk about these Eagles. We're going to keep it real, though. Because I've been seeing people out there not really keeping it real. Look, we all dislike the Eagles. Straight up. I know that. Y'all know that. We all dislike them. But we got to keep it real. Now we didn't have a player singing them all kind of praise, for some reason talking about they the best team. I know who I'm talking about. Why? I don't know, but still he don't say. We ain't gonna talk. Well, we are gonna talk about him because he is gonna have a piece of this stuff, but I just don't like the way that he just be kissing they raised boom boom room. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like it when he be doing all that. But we're going to talk about the offense first. And in regards to the offense, the key players on that offense is Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and Lane Johnson. The reason why I said Lane Johnson is because a lot of what they do, even though Kelsey, is kind of like their heart, but Lane Johnson, it looks ugly without Lane Johnson, even with Kelsey. Lane Johnson is a big part of, it's kind of like even though, quarterbacks is right-handed, but it's just like they say, like they can go ahead. It don't matter. They can roll with that little mediocre tackle that they got at left tackle, but they need Lane Johnson on that right side. And when you look at a lot of the pressures that come down, and the way when quarterbacks get touched, that right tackle is very important. And they got that solidified. It's been solidified for a long time with Gordon Lane Johnson. But the key matchups is the DNs and the offensive tackles and the linebackers versus Hurts. And what do the cornerbacks do with A.J. Brown? Now, in regards to the key matchups, right? We all know the weak link when it comes down to getting pressure on the quarterback is Mailata. That's the weak link. That's where you can go get some love at, right? Um, so I would expect for Micah Parsons, especially with Kelsey being at center, I would expect for Micah Parsons to probably get a lot more rushes on Mailata. He'll get some of lane. DeMarcus Lawrence will probably get a whole lot of lane, but I would expect for him to Micah to get a whole lot on Mailata. Now, in regards, when I say the linebackers versus Hurts, it's essential that we always keep an eye on him. One thing that I can tell you is that Hurts has made strides, positive strides as a passer. Watched a couple games, not only live, but I watched film. I watched the Miami Dolphins film and I watched the Commanders film. And one thing that I can tell you is that he has progressed in a positive way as a passer, right? And that's part of the reason why they're able to go ahead and not really feel the turnovers, because this team is the turnover pro team. And they're not really feeling that is because the way that he has evolved as a passer. I gotta give that boy credit. He has evolved as a passer, right? Back then we used to say, oh, because he was so limited in how he seen things, we like just stop Goddard, because Goddard, especially last year, was his number one target. But because he understood and he evolved and he worked at it, now you see him spread the ball around. You'll see him. You see now how it was supposed to be. He targeting AJ Brown, which they brought in to be their number one wide receiver. So you see how he getting over 100 yards a game. You see how they getting explosive plays down the field. You see how Julio come through and get a touchdown. You see how Devontae Smith will go get a touchdown. You see how Dallas Goedert is being used. So they have, and not only him dumping it down to running back. So throughout the game, you see him spread the ball. Instead of aiming at one particular target and maybe two and then taking off, you see him go through his progressions. And he's evolved there. So I got to give him credit on that, right? Dreams. So I got to give him credit on that, right? He definitely has evolved. But one thing that the Dallas Cowboys need to do is keep Hurts in the pocket. We need to surround him in the pocket. We need to bracket him in the pocket, right? And it's essential that your boys don't get rush happy. It's essential that you don't, Micah, don't mess around and take that inside release and all of a sudden Hurts pop outside and now either he gonna take off or he done got an explosive play downfield. So it's essential that we make sure that if Hurts gonna beat us, it needs to be with his arms. It can't be with his legs. And now the reason why and the reason why the Eagles are still having some type of success, though, is because teams are making him do that, and he's making them pay. Because he's like, I can make throws, right? Because one thing that I've seen is that they don't run the ball like they did last year. It's kind of have took a decline, but then their passing game has, took about 2 steps in the right direction. So it kind of all balances out, right? So that's why you got the Eagles having a record that they have. But one thing that I've seen with Hurts, you don't want him to get in a rhythm, right? And by how he can get a rhythm is by getting them easy throws. You don't want him to get in that rhythm, because when he gets in the rhythm, that's when he get his confidence, and that's when bam, I'm about to throw it to AJ. Oh, bam, I'm getting ready to throw it to Schmidt. Oh, bam, got it on the tight end screen. So you want to take that rhythm. You want to take the easy throws. Make him make some tough throws. Make him make some tight window throws. Hold on real quick. Hello? No, the little people that you said with the number that we looked at yesterday with the licensing. All right. But yeah, we don't want him to get into a rhythm. We don't want him to get into a rhythm. Take the easy throws, make him make tight window throws, and make him throw downfield. Right? Because when he's getting in the rhythm, throwing it quick to Goddard, throwing it quick to the running backs, we don't want that. We don't want him throwing them tight end screens. Because one thing I have seen, especially against the Miami Dolphins, was to try to combat that pass rush that the Miami Dolphins did. They threw a couple of them tight end screens. They threw it to, a couple of times he threw it to the running backs as a safety valve, right? So make him make tough throws down the field. I think that's where you can get him, right? One thing that I also can tell you, one thing that I can tell you, right? Because we know one thing that I've seen was when he gets inside pressure, he does the same thing over and over again. And that's like take like a step or two back. Like he always going backwards, and sometimes the pressure of it being, sometimes they just push the pocket a little bit and he like he takes step backwards and hoping to maybe they get out of the lanes and then maybe take back off inside, or maybe if he can try to wrap around, but he always taking a couple steps backwards, right? And that is a habit that he had last year as well. So that's also something that the Cowboys could probably take advantage of, but they can only take advantage of if the DNs don't overrun it. They can't overrun it, right? They can't go too far upfield, right? So not only do we need them to push that pocket, but we need the DNs to not go too far upfield. And when they can go ahead and accomplish that, he's going to be in trouble. Let's just be honest. He's going to be in trouble. He's going to be in trouble. And one thing that I seen that the Washington Commanders did was use them Bama boys and stop their run and stop him from trying to step up forward. Now, he made a couple little things where because the end kind of rushed a little wide, so but one thing that the Bama boys did and Ridgeway and all them, they were solid up the middle, right? So that's why they had a chance. They had a chance to win. They just, they couldn't take advantage of the 2 turnovers that they had in the red zone. Because one thing that I can't tell you is that this team as a whole is loose with the football, including Jalen Hurts in the pocket, right? And if we go ahead and rush correctly and rush with discipline, we can most likely not only we can get a couple turnovers this game and get a couple of turnovers against this team with the way that our offense is clicking these past couple games, that should go ahead and breathe for a recipe of success, right? That really should. But one thing for sure, in order to accomplish that, your D tackles is going to be huge this game, right? It's damn near going to almost be the deciding factor if you really win this game. Yeah, we're going to talk about, them to go against A.J. Brown, the linebackers, though. But your D tackles is so important. Just up front in general is so important, especially your D tackles. Because if your D tackles is getting punked, if they're getting blown out the ball, if they're not getting no push up the middle, then it's going to be harder and it might be a long day. So your D tackles is going to have to play their best game of the season, right? And it's going to be, and they're going to get some good offensive alignment up the middle, right? Dickerson, Kelsey, right? They're going to get some, but they can do it, though. Because if the Washington Commanders can do it, this team can do it. Because one thing that we got that the Commanders may got strong D tackles, though, but we got some D tackles, though, that got some quickness, though, that can go ahead and push a little bit. And this is the game where Mozzie Smith is going to have his coming out party. When it comes to pushing that pocket, when it comes to really being physical, this is the game that you're going to need your first-round pick to show up. Because it's going to be, that's going to be one of the storylines. I don't really pay too much attention to ESPN, but I'm pretty sure if that could be a storyline. Oh, their D tackle versus our D tackle, so I'm pretty sure that might be a little mini storyline in the process, right? And this is the game where it's no exceptions, right? Now, look, we've been patient with Mozzie Smith. Cool. But it's no exceptions that you're going to have to play your best game of the season, right? We're at the halfway point, right? And like I told y'all, right? I told y'all at the beginning of the season, I said, I'm going to give Mozzie Smith about halfway point toward the end. And I should see okay, he's starting to catch a rhythm. He's starting to get going. That's what's going to have to happen this game. We ain't about to do no playing. He gonna have to step up because he's a big part of this rotation. Whether people want to accept it or not, he's a big part of this rotation. So he gonna have to step up. He gonna have to step up. Like I told y'all before, the Eagles turned the ball over twice in the red zone. Jalen Hurts and the running back being that was horrible ball security. But so in regards to these wide receivers, right? See, because we already know we need to stop the run, make them stay in that pocket, right? Just be physical with them, right? I think this is the game where they probably gonna get Swift a lot of carries. I think what the Philadelphia Eagles have been doing is kind of saving Swift because they know he's injury prone and trying to lessen up his load. But for games like this, I think they're gonna get a ball to him heavy. So I wouldn't be surprised. So I hope that Dan Quinn is kind of preparing, like you might get a heavy dose of Swift. And especially if they get a rhythm going in the run game, you're really going to get a heavy dose of Swift, right? But now let's talk about the passing attack, right? So regarding the passing attack, look, it's out there, right? Look, Gilmore has been playing good football. Let's just be honest, right? We understand that he took he's lost a step or two, but Gilmore is playing good football, very good football, right? And he's still an upgrade over Anthony Brown, and we're still lucky to have him, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if they try to isolate somebody like Smith on him to run crossing routes. Wouldn't be surprised if they try to do that, right? Now you can hear the matchups, like you can see the matchups. Oh, we will love Gilmore, AJ Brown. Yeah, that'll be ideal. Or we would love Bland on Smith. Yeah, that'll be ideal, right? I don't know about Julio being on Jordan Lewis with that size difference. I don't know if that'll be ideal, right? But the top two, that'll kind of be ideal, but we know that they're going to be playing sides. So we know that we just going to have to go after who we just go after. It just is what it is, whether we move Bland around to match up with the size equation, because, they got some big wide receivers, with the Julio and AJ Brown. We don't, but at the end of the day, look, your corner's going to have to be physical as well, especially when it comes down to tackling. And they're going to have to be physical with them wide receivers. They can't, having them wide receivers run free, it's not an option. Having them just run without no contact, it's not an option. I hope Dan Quinn got that in his game plan. We got to get physical, right? When we talk about the physicality of this game, we're not just talking about up front. Them DBs going to have to get physical too. Because why would you let Smith and Julio just run free and just pick their spots? Why would you want 8? Come on. So I want to see a lot of, get a little physical, and I want to see some sticky icky. I want to see some nice little mirror. I want them to get in their grill, right? And now I know they go, they got to do their strategy. They got to strategize though, but I don't want people running free without no contact. I don't want nobody running free without contact. Get them hands on wide receivers. Curse gonna have to play a game against Goddard. He gonna have to play a game, right? That's even though he's throwing the ball to AJ Brown, Goddard is still his comfort zone. No matter how much he has evolved as a passer, he's still his comfort zone, right? So that's something that you're gonna have to keep an eye out on. Against this team, I would expect to see a lot of 11 and 12 personnel to try to combat this pass rush, to try to slow it down some. But I would they're going to get the most out of their 3 wide receivers, and plus tight end Goddard, Julio, Smith, and AJ Brown. So I would expect it to be spread out too. One thing that I've seen also, when they go 5 wide outside of the red zone, it's more than likely a pass. And when I see that them go 5 wide in the red zone, he ran it. He ran it. So that's something to go ahead and keep an eye out on. Now, no matter how much he has progressed, there's still some things that is predictable. I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't seen too much of their read option. I think they dialed back that some to kind of keep him there. And I think he is a little bit banged up, though, but that's still not no excuse because everybody banged up around this time. But I wouldn't be surprised if they went on ahead and dibbled in to see how our defensive ends respond and our D tackles respond to the read option. So all things probably are going to go when we see the Eagles on Sunday. All things are probably going to go right, and a lot of, especially with our linebackers and our back end, we need to finish the play. We need to wrap up right. We can't allow for YAC. We can't allow for yards after the catch with this team. That's going to hurt us tremendously. Uh, a lot of their runs come from the gun because one that keeps Jalen Hurts as a threat, right? Whether it would be like a read option, draw, he could do a lot of things from the gun. So you're gonna see a lot of runs from the gun, but that should be even a better. That should be even better in regards to us and how to defend and stop the Eagles, right? Even though because like I said, them running from that gun and what's been going on, it hasn't been too much like it has last year, right? I believe that they had to do that last year in regards to running him more, just because he hasn't took that next step as a passer. But because he took that next step as a passer, I think that's why they dialed down some. But like I said, there's going to be certain games, and probably this game, where they kind of go back to their roots, and we got to stop that, because if we don't stop that, it's going to be a long game. It's going to be a very long game. But yeah. So Micah, you talk that stuff. You've been talking that stuff. You was talking that stuff this week. Michael gonna have to have this. This gonna have to be one of them games. If Michael want to establish himself, the way that he looks at himself and the way that maybe his teammates look at him, this is gonna have to be one of the games where you make your name. Right? You've been kissing their ass since the season started. It's time to go ahead and show up and ball up. Right? It don't matter who you go against, whether it be Malata, Kelsey in the middle on the blitz, or Lane Johnson. It don't matter. Ball up. And I still would love to see Michael Parsons in that middle. See, this is a game where you can actually unleash Sam Williams. This is a perfect game where you can actually see a lot more of him, right? Especially what needed to be done and rushing any lanes and actually kind of getting upfield. This is probably a game for Sam Williams to go ahead and have his breakout campaign, right? But I definitely would like for them to stick to the plan of keeping Micah at linebacker the way that they do, because we're gonna need it. We're gonna need it. This is a game where I want to see Rashaan Evans more of establishing that physicality and tackle to tackle. I would love to see Rashaan Evans a lot more. Marquise Bell, right? We could sprinkle in Clark, but them three that I named, them first three, I would love to see them at linebacker, and that's what's gonna need to be done to get the job done, right? Dan Quinn needs to stop being. This ain't a game to be cute. This is a game to be disciplined and come to play and be physical, right? One thing I learned when I seen what Kersh was talking about, I love what Kersh said, man, we ain't about to do no playing. We ain't about to do no talking. He said, we ain't talking. I'm ready to play. Keep that same energy, because a lot of the times what we've been getting on them is that they talk too dang much, right? especially 11 at times. But now they like, man, I guess they understand what talking got them, which was ass whoopings, and now they ready to go ahead and ball. So that's what need to be done. Now let's talk about the defense. The key players on the defense. Well, you can just put their D tackles as a whole as key players though. But Carter, Reddick, Slay, and their new addition, Kevin Byard. A lot of the times it's going to be our wide receiver versus their CBs, and our O line versus their D line in a run game. Now they still got old ass Graham. They got the other Sweat, right? But one thing that we can do in a run game is attack them on a perimeter. I would love to see them big boys be tired, right? Because running at them every play, that's not ideal. But if we can go ahead and get to that perimeter running, that's going to kind of be ideal for us. That's going to be ideal, and we should have some success. I know Tony Pollard is saying that he kind of hoping and wishing upon a star for a big game. This could kind of be a game where Tony Pollard can actually have a decent game running on the perimeter if we continue to run it the way that we did in the third quarter of that Rams game, because that was probably one of your best quarters of running the football in a couple games, and in that third quarter against the Rams. But one thing that I've seen is that their slot wide receivers, the slot, whoever covers in the slot, whether it be Sydney or whoever, blankets come in, they get cooked. So I seen Jahan Dotson had a lot of success cooking in the slot. So one thing that I'm seeing, I'm telling you, I get CD some more in the slot. It don't matter what other people say, and put CD in there and let him work and get an advantage. This is the time where it cannot get cute. This is the time where to go ahead and find where the matchups are and taking advantage of it. All right. One thing we know is that Bradbury has always been a weak link, and he's continued to be a weak link. He was getting cooked against the Washington Commanders, and CD has cooked them in the past, and he's going to continue to cook them if we put him on him. We want to put our best on him. We want to. I mean, Slade has definitely shown that he will give up big plays, though. But you might as well go on the weakest link. Go on your on corner 2 and 3. Them your weakest links. Get up on them and put Cooks and CD on them and cook straight up, right? Also, but it's gonna have to come to be physical. Your offensive line is gonna have to come together and be physical as well, especially because they're gonna be physical with you. Fletcher Cox, Davis, Jalen Carter. They're going to be physical with you. So it's a must that you be physical with them. Now, little young Jalen Carter, I don't expect him to do nothing. He may have had a cool little beginning of the season, though, but against this interior offensive line, he's going to get clamped. I'm sure of it. Put my name on that. Put my name on that statement. He's going to get clamped. Straight up. He's going to get clamped. Put my name on that statement. But going against this defense, opportunities downfield. That secondary, they give up some nice chunk plays, and they've been giving up chunk plays, especially the couple games that I really just sat back and watched. They're giving up chunk plays, so opportunities are going to be there for you downfield. You protect, they're going to be there down for you. They're going to be there for you. So much that we take an opportunity. We got the wide receivers to take it. Speed is going to get them. Cooks, this might be one of your biggest games right here. CD, do what you do, right? Even Michael Gallup should get some against this team. If we push it downfield, there's going to be opportunities for success. So it's cool to give you at times, but I'm forcing the issue a little bit downfield because we can have success, and we should have success. Ferguson, I've seen tight ends be giving them some work at times. I think Ferguson will have a good game. Will compound the good game that he had last game. I think Ferguson will have another good game. I think he will. One thing that I would do, especially with them D tackles, is I'll wear them out. I'll put some pace on it, right? I'll play with a fast tempo and wear them big boys out. You wear them big boys out, shoot, it's gonna we can get something going. We can get something going. But I'm not worried about their ends when it comes down to blocking in the passing game. I'm not worried about their ends, especially with Tyron, or even if we don't got Tyron and Graham and Reddick. I'm not worried about them because we have shown in the past that we can handle them. Then we're going to show them again. Like, they're not a threat. They're not somebody like, oh, man, right? I would be more worried about when we play the Chargers against their edge rushers. But I'm not worried about these. They ain't the time to really just go ahead and like, oh, man, they're going to really put – I'm not really worried about that. I'll be honest with you. They may get a couple pressures. They may get, something may happen maybe, as far as they might make a little something happen. But as far as when it comes down to in the trenches and who's going to win it, I expect our offensive line to have one of their best games together. And I'll be honest with you, seeing the defensive alignment and going ahead and Mike McCarthy adjusting, warming up to the play calling, I'd expect for them to have one of their better performances against this Eagles D-line. I think they'll be up for the challenge, and I think they'll do pretty good against this Eagles D-line. Also, Dak got to play like he did. Dak got to play like he did last week. If Dak played like he did last week, this our game. This our game. This our game. If Dak played like he does last week, this is our game. Their linebackers is weak. They got Cunningham. He's solid, though, but they don't have nobody with Cunningham to kind of bring the most out of him. You know how I say, like, sometimes a linebacker need another one by you. and he definitely need one by him, and they don't have that for him because Nakobe Dean, if he playing, that's cooked food. Especially you isolate that Tony Pollard on him, that's cooked food. That's cooked food. That's steak and rice right there. That's barbecue chicken. So there's a whole bunch of matchups, especially what we got that we can exploit, whether it be with Blankenship, Bradbury, Brown. It's a whole bunch of, now you got to worry about Byard, Roman. I think he'll be more comfortable because he's been there for a couple weeks now. So he'll probably be more comfortable. And Byard has got us in the past, right? So it's something to be worried about right there. But even with Byard, we'll still have opportunities to really break on them downfield. That's how I see it, y'all. That's how I see it when it comes down to the attacking this Philadelphia Eagles offense / defense. But anywho, that's my time, y'all. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and share this content. We gone.